Rebecca Mains. Get your medkits ready, slap on some healing perks, and wake up. We've got an entity to burn, samurai. In a world where most survivors are based around staying alive for as long as possible, today's subject stands out as being something of an enigma. Yes, she wants to make it back to the campfire too, but when it comes to Rebecca Chambers, her first and greatest priority is taking care of her teammates. Whether that means patching up a foolhardy Jill, aiding an objective-focused Ada, or telling Leon Mains not to lick windows, Rebecca is the healer every team needs. She doesn't always get the credit she deserves, but a good Rebecca can be the difference between everybody making it out and everybody dying. Sure, exhaustion perks are cool, but have you ever tried running 4 healing perks? It's a cool feeling, or so Rebecca Mains would have you believe. So, in keeping with the format of this series, today we will look at Resident Evil's Rebecca Chambers and ask who she is, how she is, and why she is. We'll also check out her perks and cosmetics before ultimately deciding if her mains pass the vibe check. Hello everybody, I'm Das Food, and I followed a clown into the sewer grate, and now I'm stuck down here making these videos. He'll let me out if the video reaches 100 million views, so it looks like I'm going to be down here forever. Please like and subscribe so I can at least watch the numbers go up while I'm trapped. Thank you. With all of that out of the way, let's ask the big questions, starting with, who is Rebecca Chambers? First introduced in the initial Resident Evil all the way back in 1996, the year that this pizza was first taken out of the oven, Rebecca Chambers is a member of the illustrious and elite STARS organization. Standing alongside rock stars like Jill Valentine and Chris Redfield, Rebecca may not seem like much, but as shown in her starring role in Resident Evil 0, she has the stuff to more than hold her own. What's funny is that for as popular as she would go on to become, Rebecca's inclusion in the Resident Evil universe was never a sure thing. During pre-production, the game didn't feature her at all, instead choosing to try their luck with other characters. They first tried a character named Dewey, who mostly served as a comic relief source, before switching to a cyborg character named Geltzer, who was supposed to be the group's muscle. Against the wishes of series creator Shinji Mikami, Geltzer was later replaced by Barry Burton, famous for the horrible Jill sandwich line.
Gonna kick this door down. Hurry! This way!
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
And Dewey was replaced with Rebecca Chambers, who filled the role as the team's medic. Though Mikami wasn't enthused about swapping Dewey for Rebecca, he later changed his mind, telling The Guardian, "If I had to name the woman character I most disliked in my games, it would be Rebecca Chambers. She's submissive, she's not independent. I didn't want to include her, but the staff wanted that kind of character in the game, for whatever reason. I'm sure it made sense to them." Oh, okay, well, maybe he never changed his mind, but before you come after Mikami for Rebecca slander, you need to appreciate where he's coming from. Mikami had a real and valid issue with how female characters were portrayed in fiction, especially in Japanese media at the time, and went out of his way to showcase his female characters as being brave, capable, and intelligent. This is why he greatly prefers characters like Ada or Jill, who are already complete, or characters like Claire Redfield, who find themselves over the course of their journey. Of course, I'm going to take the bold and likely unpopular opinion that Mikami, the guy who made Resident Evil, is wrong about, well, Resident Evil. Or at least he's wrong about Rebecca. While it's true that she's no Jill Valentine, Miss Chambers isn't exactly a pushover either. I'll agree that she shows more fear and vulnerability than most of the cast, but she's still a brilliant child prodigy who graduated college at age 18 due to a genius-level understanding of medicine. And to me, that's exactly why she seems like the type of damsel in distress that Mikami hates so much. Unlike the other STARS members, Rebecca is a rookie who isn't even old enough to buy herself a drink yet. So yes, when separated from the group and cornered by a hunter monster, she freezes. I'd wager that most people would do the exact same in that position. Give her another 3 to 5 years on the job, however, and I feel like we'd see a much braver and level-headed response on her part. I'm not saying she'll ever be Jill or Ada, but I think Rebecca catches too much flack for what was ultimately a very human response in a very terrifying situation. Further proof of Rebecca's strength and usefulness comes in the film Resident Evil Vendetta, where she becomes infected with the A virus and uses her own custom vaccine to keep herself alive. Not bad for a supposed damsel. I mean, she saved the world. In total, we're talking about a character that had the wits and know-how to survive the Arklay Mountains, the Spencer Mansion, and the Raccoon City outbreak. She's a total badass, cleverly disguised with a humble, delicate exterior. Strength comes in various shapes and sizes, and Rebecca is proof positive of that. Next up, let's do a wellness check-in and ask, how is Rebecca Chambers? Probably not too great, to be honest. While I just went on and on about how strong and smart she is, Rebecca is definitely more fragile than most other survivors. She doesn't possess the devil-may-care recklessness of Ace, the combative disposition of David, or the total psychopathy of Bill. So I'd imagine life in the Entities realm is hard for Rebecca. She's strong, but I still feel like it would be good to check in on her the next time you see her at the campfire. The poor girl probably just wants to get back to her teaching job at a university. Now that that's covered, let's address Behavior's reasons for adding this character to the roster by asking, why is Rebecca Chambers? And this one is a bit less clear than most licensed editions, as she's one of 4 Resi survivors in the game, 8 if you count legendary skins, so why was she chosen to be included as a full-fledged survivor? My guess is that she's simply more popular than the legendary skin characters, or at least more popular than most of them. We all love Sheva and Carlos, but they definitely play second fiddle to Chris and Jill, respectively. Of course, Chris is an undeniable main character of the series, so why is he a legendary skin? Again, it's tough to tell. He and Rebecca both would have made tremendous sense as full-fledged characters, so my guess is that Behavior just jumped the gun with Chris. They added the Redfield siblings as skins during the first DLC, and had to choose different characters for Project W. While Ada was a shoo-in for one of those roles, the roster thins dramatically after her inclusion, leaving Rebecca as the most reasonable choice. The truth of the matter is that Resi has been around for nearly 30 years and has a fairly expansive roster. Every character is somebody's favorite. It's kind of the Pokemon problem. So at some point, Behavior just had to choose and pick a beloved character and run with it. Nobody would have batted an eye at Sheva, Carlos, or even somebody like Ethan Winters being added, but they went with Rebecca, and I think that was a cool choice. It's just another opportunity for her to show the grit and resolve that Shinji Mikami thought she was initially missing. That seems to have worked out too, because at the time of recording, Rebecca sits comfortably as the 27th most popular survivor out of 45 options. She's the least played character from Resident Evil, but those stats aren't too bad, all things considered. With all of that out of the way, let's move on to Rebecca's 3 original perks, which range from borderline useless to game-savingly strong. Her perks are, as I've renamed them, We Have Leader at Home, skill checks go nyom, and Hang in There. We'll go in order from weakest to strongest and start with We Have Leader at Home. Just as the name indicates, this perk, to me, is a weaker version of Dwight Fairfield's perk, Leader. After healing a teammate, they receive a 16% bonus to action speeds for blessing, cleansing, healing, and unlocking. This effect lasts until they are damaged again. The issues with this one are numerous. Firstly, a 16% bonus to cleansing or blessing a totem is pretty useless, as neither action takes all that long to complete anyway. If you want to unlock chests faster, there are better options for that as well. And besides, you really don't want your teammates wasting time searching for junk in the Entities yard sale anyway. The boost to healing is nice, but the fact that they lose it upon taking damage means that there's a decent chance most teammates will never get any value out of it. Worst of all is that this perk doesn't help out with unlocking the gate, which Leader does, meaning that it loses most of the niche value it could otherwise have in the endgame. All told, this is a really underwhelming perk and will waste a slot much more often than it will provide any tangible value. It's not entirely horrible, but it could be much, much, much better. It used to add a boost to generators, which was really useful, but that got removed before the perk left the PTB. If you're going to run this one, make sure to equip another healing perk to get maximum value for your efforts. Will Make It, Botany, and Autodidact will all do the trick. You may also want to run Empathy to find injured teammates and keep them buffed. Because of the healing boost sometimes being kind of decent, I will give this one a 2 out of 5. Moving along, we now get to skill checks go nyom. This is a perk that makes it where, while on a generator, every great skill check you hit gives you a token that increases the reward bonus by 5% up to a maximum of 30% for hitting great skill checks. It also increases skill check speed and frequency by 4%. If you miss a skill check or hit a normal good one, all tokens are reset to 0 and you gotta start over again. In the right hands, this perk can be pretty deadly and really helps gens to fly by quickly. The skill checks definitely get harder as time goes on, but for those who can consistently hit great skill checks, this is a free way to get through gens faster. There's only one must-have perk pairing for this one, and that's Detective Tapp's Stakeout. That way, if you miss a great, you keep the streak alive for a few more seconds and get another chance to keep it going. I wouldn't say this skill check is very consistent for most players, but I can't imagine how good it is for those who have mastered great skill checks. I may get flamed for this, but because of this perk's immense upside, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5, even though for most people it's going to be more like a 3 out of 5. Finally, we arrive at Hang In There, which is the best example of behavior addressing a balance issue by adding a perk to counter it. Killers have a bad habit of camping, so the devs added this perk to counter it. Not that it worked, but hey, that is not the perk's fault. Amazingly strong when needed, Hang In There makes it to where if you run within 6 meters of a hook teammate, you can push the ability button and pause their hook progression timer for 30 seconds. Even better is that you can use this on every survivor for every hook stage but the final one, meaning a dedicated Rebecca can frustrate a camping killer with up to 3 additional minutes of hook time. It won't often come to that, but it is technically possible. One really nice thing about this perk is that it doesn't need anything else to get max value, so don't worry about pairing it with anything in particular. Just run whatever other 3 perks you would run normally, and this one will slot in nicely alongside them. I would say that using Kindred is nice so you can see ahead of time if a killer is camping, but again, it's not strictly necessary. You can also run an anti-tunnel perk for your teammate like Babysitter or Borrowed Time, but again, it's just not entirely necessary. While this one won't be useful in every game, it's an absolute lifesaver against killers who really just want to roast some marshmallows beside a hook survivor. It's even better with the new camping meter, as killers have to stay just far enough back to give you time to get in, activate the perk, and get out without much danger to yourself. Lovely stuff. Again, the use of this one may be somewhat sporadic, but overall, this is a meta-shifting perk that deserves its place at the top of the card and forces killers to actually engage in chases. 5 out of 5, just perfect. Now that the perks have been covered, we need to talk about Rebecca's fashion, or lack thereof. Despite releasing during an era where licensed characters have started to get more customization options, Rebecca's wardrobe is pretty barren. She has a grand total of 3 cosmetics: her base outfit, her cowgirl cosmetic, and a Christmas sweater. Technically, she also has her bloodied prestige cosmetics, but I never count those. Her base outfit is really solid in that you look at her in comparison to the other STARS members, and you can instantly tell that she's the group's medic. The vest is both tactical and cute, the pants are an earthy tone you'd expect from a doctor, and her short haircut works really well for her overall aesthetic. All told, this is yet another fantastic design for a Resident Evil character, which is just kinda normal for the series. No, I don't think it's as instantly memorable as what they did for Jill in Resi 3 or Leon in Resi 4, but it's still really good. And then we get to her cowgirl look, which is described in the shop as being supposed to, quote, evoke memories of frontier medicine. But with the boots, the bare midriff, and the Daisy Dukes, I fear it may evoke something else entirely from the DBD player base. Either way, this is a fun, silly cosmetic that most Rebecca players seem to run when they play her. I see this one a lot, and it's not hard to see why. It's a great cosmetic. Lastly, she has her Christmas sweater, which stands apart from the others by being fairly interesting in that it's a shade of greenish brown. It's not the prettiest shade on earth, but it works strangely well for Rebecca, likely because she has green pants and brown hair, so there is some symmetry there. Regardless of the reason, her sweater is just as fun as any other DBD sweater, and it looks nice whenever her players decide to rock it. Wrapping this up, let's vibe check Rebecca and her mains. The obvious choice is to say Rebecca passes, but do her players? After all, there are times when a character's lore is greatly undermined by DBD's users. Take Claudette, Lori, and Nancy, for example. All are sweet, empathetic characters. Their mains, however, used to be absolute demons. Some have since changed. I mean, maybe we'll see when we get to them. Thankfully, Rebecca players understand the assignment and play her according to her strengths. They bring medkits and healing perks and make sure everybody gets their boo-boos patched up. Her mains easily pass the vibe check. In total, Rebecca is an awesome character and she's got a great community of mains. I really like to see Rebecca's in my lobby, as I'm always pretty sure that I have a healer who's going to make sure that I stay healthy throughout the match. She is really cool as a teammate. She's really cool as a character. And, you know, she's not exactly the first one I would have added from Resident Evil. And to be fair, she's not the first one Behavior did add from Resident Evil. But overall, I really think that she is made for a good inclusion in the game's roster. This is, of course, the part where I turn it back over to you and I ask, what are your thoughts on Rebecca? What are your thoughts on her mains? If you are a Rebecca main, what did you think of this video? Did you enjoy? Did you have a good time? And of course, as always, who is next? Who should I cover next? I try to take it really seriously. If I see a lot of demand for somebody in the comments, I definitely want to get to them before too long. So thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate that you took time out of your day to watch this, to spend some time on my silly little channel. It always just means the most to me. It means the world. I appreciate you. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. And until the next video, I have been Das Food. Bye, friends.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness.
Wait, what are you still doing here? The video is over. Didn't you see the end screen? We did the whole outro. We did... Oh, right. I know why you're here. You want me to make a reference because this is a Rebecca Chambers video. You want me to reference the Wesker thing. Well, I was pretty resolved not to do it, but seeing as though you're still here, fine. Sit tight and enjoy a little after credit scene featuring the man himself, Albert Wesker, leader of the Rebecca Chambers fan club. Enjoy. It's just a string. A secret string. Boy, Wesker, when you're right. That's some secret box you got there. Thank you for showing that to me. Yeah. All right, well, I'll see you in hell. I'll see you there, Chris. It was just a string. And to think I could have been continuing the Redfield bloodline. Good thing he didn't pull the secret string, revealing the secret compartment in my secret box. Revealing one tasteful photo of Rebecca Chambers in a basketball uniform. I got you this time, Chris.